Salam alaikum, alaikum salam. Hola, buenas noches. Hope you guys are having a great night. Touching up today on a principle of life and living by Bunseki Fukiao. I'm not going to read much once again, just a little bit. We're going to read about crimes concerning land. And we're going to start here. The Congo society is a good example of society whose entire social structure is basically a taboo system. The most important taboos are those related to the land, goods from that land, and all matter related to the community name. As such, most of what are considered crimes are related to the issue of land, the source of all goods for the survival of life. Crimes concerning the land. We have already said above that the right of land ownership belongs only to the community. No one in the community could claim private ownership to any portion of the land. To own or sell land is considered one of the most serious crimes that an individual may commit. Crimes for which he may not be forgiven by community members. Land, because it is an inviolable taboo, should remain in the service of all community members. During his lifetime, a community member has the right to harvest his fields and fruit trees, but after his death, the land and the property on that land, i.e. fruit trees, houses, industry, farms, etc., go back to the community ownership. This kind of property, inherited by the community according to the basic concept and taboo of the inalienability of the land, is called foi d'Akanda. The foi d'Akanda is an accumulated heritage that enforces community control of land and all properties related to it. These properties constitute the basic sources of Kanda's commonwealth, also called Kivwama Kiakanda or Mayuduka Makanda, used to solve Kanda's diverse problem or to assist community members in time of need. According to the individual wealth and abominable crime, individual wealth of all kinds above the accepted standard of necessary goods is considered a crime. One says that this kind of wealth should not be accumulated without exploiting other members of the community. And in that case, the wealth itself is called Kimvwama Kia Muyeke, wealth that betrays, Yukula, the community, its members. The owner of such excessive properties was often killed or hoodooed. African communities believe strongly that the individual accumulation of property has always had negative effects on the traditional social structure and policy-making institution. The traditional social system of the Congo does not permit rich people to lead national or community institutions because a proverb says a rich man never talks or fights for other people's interests unless it is to further his own interests. That is why traditionally wealth does not play a role in either the social ranking system or alliances making among the Bantu. This situation is changing today because the same rich individuals have the power to buy guns, which gives them not only more power, but the license to kill whoever they declare a danger. Firing squads are increasing throughout the African continent, not of criminals, but of innocent individuals who are challenging corrupted practices of the politicians. A Congo proverb says, policy is a community matter. The individual does not make community policies. The individual policy was unknown since the time of the ancestors. The individual does not make community policies, says another Kikongo proverb. One mouth is an empty calabash. Congo traditional thought explains clearly that all people develop and direct community policies. Individuals do not make policies even though they are allowed to represent the community by delegation. An individual who is going to represent the community policy is publicly tested before being sent on any diplomatic mission. If he fails by misrepresenting the community, he is buried alive in a public place, generally in the marketplace. Woo! To misrepresent the people or the community, insists Palo Mayombe in his marvelous book on Congo traditions, is to compromise the future of the community. In order to show the seriousness of such a political crime and according to the law, the criminal was buried alive publicly in the marketplace. Before his burial, the criminal made a public statement of his crime, gave advice to the future representative of the community, policy, and diplomacy, and thereafter he was thrown alive in a burial hole. And Palo Mayombe clearly tells us that his diplomatic mission was one of the most dangerous functions. Failure in such a mission led straight to a cruel and inevitable death. Political and diplomatic missions were akin to deification for those who knew how to handle the people's responsibility. Coming back from an important, successful mission for my community, a Simbikia NC, literary holder of the country's equilibrium, a wise man took my hand, spit on them, and said, "If you season the policy of people and the community correctly, you are deified. This Congo proverb shows us that only obedience to the people's will makes people heroes and gods, and not otherwise. For the red carpet is not requested, it is earned. Because of the embodiment of this concept of others before oneself, the Bantu daily expression tends to eliminate the subjective and egotistic use of the I when dealing with important social issues. They prefer to build their thoughts on ancestral basis, i.e. historic, taboo basis, the accumulated knowledge and experience. The ancestor in their experience have said, or the past says, or Bambuta Bata and Ganga, according to the ancestors' law, and Ganga Yata Bambuta, the spiritual holders of the country, have said, Simbi Bia Insi Vo, according to the unwritten law, the traditional constitution. Landila Fukia and Nis, countries' practice, norms, values, patterns, and systems do not say it. All these expressions are judiciary, legal, and sententious expression mainly used in public statements or to fit one's own thought within the framework of social patterns and value, but also to avoid culpability before the law and public condemnation of selfishness. There is no creation outside of the people. Pretended individual creation, according to the Congo thought, is a lie and a social crime. Creation are collective works because they are people's accumulated thoughts. In other words, they germinate from collective ideas. Notice here that the period in which proverbs were created is a broad historical period that transpired before colonization, a period in which the African Muntu, the person, was able to think and create freely. There is a huge split between that period and the present time in Africa. The present African swims within a period without Ngana, principles, theories, concepts, or system. This is a period of the oppressed man, i.e. the man without a brain, brainwashed man. This is the suffering Africa because it goes against autocritique and collective dialectic and collective dialectics, its own concept. For the Bantu and the Congo in particular, it is a crime to own property that is worth more than the standard wealth of ordinary members of the community. Such property cannot be obtained by honest means without taking the path of exploiting the community and its members. Peace, have a great night. Salam alaikum. Kensami lakutare.